All right, hi everybody. Wanted to make a video today to talk to you about one of the types of exercises that I'm sure you're familiar with. You've seen um, plyometrics. So, just a quick background on what plyometrics are. I'm going to talk about what they are, why you would consider doing them, and then set up some initial thoughts on how to start to think about training them, incorporating them into your training program. So, a couple things about what they are. So, plyometrics just describes a type of an exercise that takes advantage of the stretch and then shortening of your muscles and tendons. What's happening inside is that there's a storage and then a use of elastic energy. So you think of, again, this is jump training, and that sort of thing. So the translation to athletics, sports, and even any situation in life where we need a rapid production of force, or a deceleration. These are great exercises to train that. So again, in sports, if you think about the gym and athletics, gym is where we do a lot of strength training, right? Strength and mobility training. And so plyometrics is a sort of a bridge type exercise that uses your trained ability to produce force, and then uses that in a rapid way, and then that translates well to sports. One point about this that I want to make sure is clear is that you don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be playing a sport in order to benefit from this type of training. Any situation, again, where for example, if you slipped, if you stumbled, and you need to decelerate in order to prevent yourself from falling. If you don't train that ability, you're going to diminish your ability to produce that enough force in a fast enough amount of time. So just a little bit about, they're not just for athletes. So there's lots of ways to do plyometrics. What I want to do here is just sort of go through some basic ways to use them, and I'm specifically going to focus on lower body. That's the most commonly used type of plyometrics, and that's where I'm going to focus right now. So a couple of points. So you really do need to have what I describe as a prerequisite range of motion available and strength level available. So you can, if you're able to squat by double leg squat, if you can squat so that your thighs are parallel to the floor or a little bit below parallel, that's a reasonably good range of motion and strength level and mobility level. Can you do those same movements with external loads, like holding a kettlebell or dumbbell or barbell? That's an additional level of force production that you've been able to demonstrate. And then can you do that movement with two legs or as single leg movement, single leg squat? And so if you test yourself out and you get a sense of, okay, here's where I have the ability to produce force in a slow and controlled manner, and you would not be doing anything in plyometric training that would be outside of that ability level, particularly if you found those to be difficult without external loads. So you want to be aware of those limits for yourself. So, and if you do have any limitations there, the emphasis of your training really should be on building your strength in that range of motion, and not so much power production. Strength is the foundation of all of this, and that really should be the emphasis. But if you do have that ability, if you do have those prerequisites met, then you can move on. And so the first thing with plyometrics is the best way to go about this type of training is to make sure that you're able to land well, okay? Because what you're going to be doing is producing force, leaving the ground, and landing. So you don't take off without having that ability to control your mass coming back down. So the best way that I think you can get used to that is, you've probably seen people doing box jumps. Okay, so So for example, standing on the ground, squatting down, taking off, and then landing on a box. Now, if you go online and you type in box jumps, you'll probably see, the first video that pops up will probably be somebody onto a 6-foot-high stack of plates or boxes. You want to be focusing on using the box as a way to make your impact force reduced. So in other words, if your ground is here and your box height is here and your center of mass is here, when you jump up, if you come back down to the ground, your center of mass, you have to decelerate your center of mass accelerating through that distance right there. If you go to a box, there's less distance, there's less time, and there's less load to deal with. So use the box initially to make your impact reduced. Make sure that when you land, you're landing in a squat position here, an athletic, shock-absorbing position, not with stiff knees. You want to make sure your muscles and your tendons are absorbing that landing. The cue that I'll use is you take off in a squat, you land in a squat. Your focus is on control. Your focus is on having lots of height above the box. So if you feel like you have barely making it onto that surface that you're on, whether it's a box or a stair or a curb or something like that, if you feel like you're barely making it on there, it's too high. So you can lower that. If you feel like you're way, way, way above it, then you might actually want to raise that up to make it to make the landing a little bit more comfortable and easier and less impact. So the height on this, you can progress the height if you want to use that as a way to produce more force, to challenge yourself to get up higher. But the landing position is the key thing. You want to make sure you have a good, safe, controlled landing position. So higher is not better. There is a limit to how high to go on those. And then another point I want to make is, as an option for you to progress this is, I mentioned before, double leg. You can do these as single leg. So for example, you can the progression I would take people through is double leg to double leg to single leg to single leg. And that means taking off position, landing position. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps you when you're talking about or thinking about incorporating some of these things into your program. Again, if it's something that's a little bit confusing to you, it's not. It basically is all about producing force quickly and landing safely and with control. And like I said, so if it doesn't sound like it's the right thing for you, the best thing you can do is just focus on continuing to improve your strength, because that is the foundation of all this. All right, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you got something out of that video, and I'll probably be doing additional videos on this topic. So, thanks.